Well, at first it seemed kind of shaky. Um, the Jason did the whole chick chick in the ring, Samara thing and started coming out of the TV. So I simply kept going. Um, change channel, change channel, change channel. And it occurred again. Same thing. And then I changed the channel, kept saying change the channel to where Jason wasn't even on the TV. Then I got excited and woke up. But that instance of that working, me learning that, and learning how to do that, it was life changing. Because the nightmares didn't instantly go away, or the night terrors, whatever you wanted to call them. Right now, I wouldn't even call them a dream, more of a half thought. But this is what started knowing that these things that was, at least in my mind, sheer pure magic at that age. Knowing these things could really happen from experiencing it, from doing it, from controlling and manipulating things, even if it was a dream, whatever a dream was, which I had no comprehension of at that age. I was a freaking X-Men. I just couldn't say anything about it to the waking world. And because people already thought I was crazy enough, or wouldn't be seeing or wouldn't be seeing Dr. Ball to begin with. But that even opened up my thought processes to spirituality, even at that young of an age. Because spirituality does affect the physical world. Whether you like it or not, even scientists have an X factor, the variable. Sometimes it has more of an effect than others, but knowing that at such a young age, it opened me up to wanting to know more. And I kind of got addicted to it fairly rarely, fairly easily. I mean, you can control your dreams completely at 11 years old, 10 years old. And I mean, from manifesting blank spaces to literally building a house in front of, like most kids play on their phones nowadays. And that started also my search and interest and love for what people consider the paranormal. And I say it that way because to me it's no longer considered paranormal. The majority of it. it's as normal to me as the sun coming up. But the average person doesn't think that way. If you're watching this, odds are you might not be an average person. You know, or what's considered normies. You know, because something got your eye. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with normies. Just some people have different walks. You know, everyone walks through this world on a path. Some people have the clear signs and street signs and everything else, and some of them have the dirt roads and back alleys. Some of them take a combination of both. They're just, you know, but not all who wander are lost. So, I got to the point to where after I thought I'd mastered the lucid dreaming aspect, I was probably around 14 or 15. So of course you can tell I really didn't have a freaking clue. You know, I just thought I knew what I was doing. I'd already started studying paranormal books and anything I could find on dreams or dream analysis or anything related to it. And that's where I learned of the tie to astral projection. And lucid dreaming and astral projection are so close, they have got to be brother and sister. Because if you can consciously astral project, which everybody does it at least once or twice in their life, anyway, everyone. Where they remember it, where they realize it, whatever. Some people are just more self-aware than others. Everyone, it happens with everyone. But if you are adept enough, naturally skilled enough, or train yourself enough, if you can lucid dream, you can astral project. Your skill level depends on how and what exactly your method of training you use. I started experimenting with what I could do in the military. And this was purely me doing it on my own. Okay, I was a grunt. I wasn't part of no MK Ultra or anything like that. Alright. Though I do believe, read, and know these things do exist. You know, I'm sure they still exist in some form today somewhere in the government. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest bit. But that's a different conversation. But this was just me doing it on my own, experimenting unethically which my former barracks roommates, yeah, some of y'all, if y'all watching this, I do apologize. I owe you all apologies. Yeah, I wasn't just always drunk sleeping. I was there meeting, sorry. And if you can ever remember dreaming of me, it might have been me doing experiments. Didn't do it with everybody, but I did do it with several. So, you know, most of y'all know how to get a hold of me. But I did what I did, and I learned from it. I was able to confirm that I did enter at least two people's dreams. Of course, I had to be sneaky and manipulative and stuff like that to get it, because I couldn't exactly tell them, hey, yo, I'm gonna try to sneak into your dreams, and you know, did that, no. Yeah, okay. That's not the average conversation that people agree to say the least. Even crazy ass combat tankers, you know. So, you know, I did what I had to do. I felt. It wasn't ethical. It was valuable to me. But I learned to do some really cool stuff. And there was a stepping stone in becoming strong in that. And I did also eventually, before I got kiboshed, as it was, for my bad behavior, and I just thank God that he was the one that kiboshed me, because if something else would have done it, it would have, yeah, I could have ended up drawing in a corner, you know. But luckily it was God that, you know, granted me mercy and still discipline. And I believe that just as soon as I do that the sun is in the sky. He did eventually adjust my gifts that I have been blessed with. You know, not so much, I don't astral project near as often anymore, or I'm even able to. But what I do is because he allows it. He's kind of changed, I guess, what they are and how they work, according to what he's deemed of my character. I'm good with that. Then again, I don't try and abuse it either. So yeah, I deserve what I got. You know, and that's one thing that kind of confuses people, just with me in general. And I'm sure other veterans can understand this, and other people in recovery can understand this. You know, I knew what I was doing was wrong. I just deemed it was worth what I was going to cost. You know, when I was hard on everyone else, I was twice as hard on myself. I believed in the one standard. Not one standard for me and one standard for you. One standard. So if I say you're wrong for doing something, if I turn around and do it, there is no justification for me. It's just as wrong. You know, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way. So, you know, somebody wants to write a comment saying, "Yeah, I feel you. I understand. You know, I'd appreciate it just to confirm I'm not just an oddball," which you know we all are, but that's okay. But that's what makes the world such a great place. Oddballs and soothsayers. Hell of a combination.